what is the next iteration of your purpose? As your purpose continues to reveal itself, how is it getting refined? It's scary, and you've got to really be honest about that fear. Is there something stopping you from moving even deeper into your purpose? Have you ever thought about that before, that God trusts you? That he has entrusted to you something that he wants to see come out of you. See, that's weird for us to not feel like we have to earn it. Because in all of our relationships in this world, you've got to earn trust. Like whether it's going into a relationship or going into a job or even entering a new community, you never just get trust given to you. I mean, even on your first day of a new job, if they give you the keys, you still had to earn the trust by like showing up to the interview, by all of your previous work experience, from your references, telling them that you're reliable. So think about that. God extending his trust to you first without you having to earn it. There's something very different about a partnership with God. And if you've been here during this series, you might have noticed a theme that is what we've been talking about in this whole series. On the first week, I told you that God's love was first, that it was without you having to earn it, that it is unconditional, that he takes a risk on you loving you first, whether or not you love him back. And then on the second week, Josh talked about how God believes something about you to be true. Whether or not you believe it, whether or not you live like it's true, that God chooses to believe that about you. And it's the same with trust. God chooses to trust us with a mission in this world. And it is, I believe, a perpetual invitation. And even when we maybe let God down, the invitation, the trust keeps coming. And by the way, if this idea of God doing these things, initiating these things toward us is resonating with you, there was a book, we'll put it up here, that was sort of the inspiration for this series. And so if this is an idea that you're really liking and you want to go a little bit further, I recommend that book. But getting back to today, I told you that the second thing you've got to believe if you're going to accept God's invitation to partner with you as you live out your purpose in an ongoing, unfolding way is that God trusts you. At the beginning of the passage that we're in today, it says this, going back to verse 5. What after all is Apollos and what is Paul? Only servants through whom you came to believe, as the Lord has assigned to each his task. Now, assigned is a little bit of an unfortunate translation there because it doesn't feel invitational, does it? It feels demanding. But that word is actually better translated simply gave, or to grant somebody something that they want, or to give permission for something. It speaks much more to the generosity of God than a demandingness of him. This is not an orchestra conductor making sure you do your part right. This is a jazz band leader who's inviting you to a solo because they think you'd be good at it. And they like the spin that you would have on it. And they want to see what you'll do with it. See, when we look at this, what God gives us as invitational, we get away from it feeling like you better do this or else. And instead, it becomes God trusting and hoping in us, hoping we'll do it, trusting we're going to do it. So you've got to have these two beliefs as the foundation to be able to engage in this kind of partnership that I'm talking about. You've got to believe that partnership with God leaves room for you to be uniquely you, and that God already trusts you. Because once you believe that, you are now able to live into that ever unfolding purpose. And remember, when we talk about purpose, we're talking about what are we supposed to do in this world as we partner with God, that it's an unfolding process. It's shifting, changing sometimes. It's not static. Maybe it sharpens and maybe it pivots altogether. And I want you to think this morning about where you are in that process of discovery. And maybe think about it a little more like big picture. Like, what do you believe your larger trajectory of purpose might be in your life. Maybe that means your career. Maybe it means a certain demographic that you're really passionate about. It might be a problem that you see in this world that you want to help solve. It might be a topic that you can talk about all day and one that positively impacts people. Today, right in this moment, where are you at in your process of discovery? And depending on where you're at, I'm going to give you one question to be engaging with God in this week and in the coming weeks, all right? So first, some of you have a lot of clarity about your purpose. Maybe you've known what it is most of your life, maybe even just for the last couple of years. You have a clear sense of God's big picture calling for you. So for those of you here in this room that feel like that's where you are, here's the question for you. What is the next iteration of this purpose? Where might you be ready to step even more fully into that purpose? So there's a new pope. I don't know if you heard, Pope Leo the 14th. And the week that he was elected, Chris and I were watching a special on him, and it talked about him growing up in Chicago, and it got his two brothers and was asking them about him. And they said, here's the thing. A lot of kids when they're little, they play school or they shoot hoops. Not our brother. He would gather his brothers and all the neighborhood kids, and he would play church with them. And he would do communion by passing out Necco wafers. And this was just what he always knew he wanted to do. It was always in him. And so then, as we kept watching the special, it talked about then over the next 4 decades, he continued to live into this purpose. And then about a week and a half ago, he accepted the election to live out a deeper expression of his purpose when he was elected to be Pope. So for you, what is the next iteration of your purpose? As your purpose continues to reveal itself, how is it getting refined? Some of you in here, you might have an inkling of what you think that is, but it's scary. And you've got to really be honest about that fear. Is there something stopping you from moving even deeper into your purpose? So for you, I'm going to ask you to be thinking about this question. Talk this week with God about this question. Is there something deeper? Now, for some of you, it's not so much about getting deeper into a purpose that you've already been living out, but for you, maybe it's a little bit of a lateral move that's going to happen, maybe a little bit of a pivot or a new direction. That might be because you have a career change that's happening, or maybe your family has changed. Maybe you recently became an empty nester, or there was some other big life change that happened, and you're feeling like your purpose is maybe shifting a little. For some of you, there's a new direction that's maybe taking shape. And so for you today who find yourself in that kind of a season, here's your question. What do you need to release in order to fully go there?